So I've gone on MSC a few times and I'm here to tell you that she is not that bad. Hey everybody, it's Brandon the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend, and I just completed a sailing on MSC's Seaside for a 3-night weekend cruise. Now this is being filmed in October of 2023, and I wanted to share with you my thoughts on my MSC Seaside, do a review if you will, because I think MSC is getting a bad rap in the cruise industry for some reason. I think that's changing, but for some reason they have a bad rap, and I wanted to share my experience because you know what? I kind of enjoyed it. The first thing that I'll say is the ships are very different. And so when I walked onto the Seaside, it is a different layout of a ship. The first thing that strikes me is how contemporary these cruise ships are that MSC makes. They really prioritize trying to make it feel more modern, more contemporary. You're gonna see a lot of maroon and black. Those are their two primary colors that you're gonna see all around the ship. And you're also gonna see a lot of silver. You're gonna see a ton of mirrors all throughout the ship. Now, I think that this really helps make it feel more airy, more bright and vibrant, and you're gonna have windows everywhere in the common spaces of this cruise line. Now, the layout of the ship is really segmented, so they took a different approach for the ships that I've been on, especially with the Seaside, and it feels more segmented, which I'm coming to find that I actually like. Other cruise lines have big, wide open spaces, then some cruise lines have more segmented. Here on the MSC Seaside, every time I turned around, there was another section of like 10 people can sit here, 8 people can sit there. There are all these little mix and mingle sections, and I felt like there were Italian cafes all throughout the ship. Like it seemed like Italian cafes just about everywhere throughout the ship. This also helped me meet a few folks. So when you're sitting in these sections, other people are gonna come up and join you. You're gonna be able to chat with them. And I really enjoyed meeting people in this, more intimate environment. Though with it being a different layout, it took me a little bit of getting used to walking around the ship. I love walking onto a cruise ship and knowing exactly where I go. One of my pet peeves is having people just randomly stop in the middle of the hallway and I about run into them, and that was me on this sailing. So on the MSC Seaside, it takes a little while to figure out their hallways and their corridors and how everything connects. Again, it's more intimate spaces, so you can't necessarily see front to back. You have to piece it together. Sometimes the walkways are on the outside of the ship, sometimes they're in the middle of the ship, even though the outside on that middle section is still gonna look like you can go through it. You can't. I've turned around a few times and I'm like, what's around this corner? It's not a corner, it's just a dead end. And another thing that they did that I just find awkward on the few MSC sailings that I've been on, they put their elevators in some really rando places. I don't understand why they put their elevators where they do, because I think some of them are hidden. Their elevators on the Seaside are also using the new technology where you press the floor that you're going to and it'll tell you what elevator is gonna come and pick you up. I believe that this is supposed to make the elevators more efficient, but I will tell you that it felt like the lines on the MSC Seaside were longer than I traditionally see on other ships. I don't know if it's a factor of the new programming on how to get into the elevator, or if it's because they're just so random and people aren't finding the other banks of elevators and spreading out that love. So being on board the MSC Seaside, I also wanted to talk about the food, because I think that this is the place where they get the most feedback. And I know that this is extremely subjective, and food will change from cruise line to cruise line and within ship to ship and sail date to sail date. I can certainly say that I've seen that happen on other lines, but on MSC, I've had really good experiences. Now, the first night I went to their Pan-Asian restaurant and had amazing food. This is part of their Diamond benefit. So in their loyalty program, the Voyagers Club, their highest tier is Diamond. If you have not status matched into MSC and you're thinking about going over there, they accept all sorts of things. So watch this video here in how to status match into their program. But the food in the Pan-Asian restaurant was amazing. I had a blast. I also was sitting within earshot where I could hear and see the table beside of me, and they were celebrating, I think, a birthday, but their food looked even better than what I was getting, and they could not have raved about it more. From there, they're gonna have a buffet, just like most cruise lines, called the Marketplace. And at this buffet, you're gonna find the exact same food that you're gonna find on other cruise lines. However, they're gonna offer a few more featured things on their menu because it's an Italian company. They have just different ways that you eat in the Mediterranean. So for breakfast, for instance, they're gonna have smoked fish, which was something that I personally love that flavor first thing in the morning. There was this strawberry pizza dessert that I had in the morning. It tasted like an old school toaster strudel and I loved it. You're also gonna find fantastic pastries, pizza, a lot of different meats and cheeses. Yes, other cruise lines have meat and cheeses, but I would say that those are like your baseline cheeses. On MSC, you're actually gonna have some really good cheeses like blue cheese, Gouda, Munster, and a few others that you're gonna be able to find on their menu. It makes for great pre-appetizers, especially if you have one of the later dining times. But from there, it's literally hamburgers, hot dogs, Indian food, garlic and barbecue chicken, mixed vegetables. I was eating the same things I would on another cruise line. So for their Italian night, I had arancini, short ribs, and cheesecake. Straight up my alley and exactly what I would have ordered on another cruise line. Yeah, they put their own spin to it. I actually like their spin a little bit better. It seemed more flavorful on MSC than what I'm finding on other cruise lines. But the service in the main dining room was really good. Like, my waitstaff took extremely good care of me, very nice, very polite and friendly. And so it made it an easy and quick experience, which when I'm dining by myself, you know that I always appreciate that. The only time that I was a little bit disappointed in their food was the first meal that I got fried chicken and waffles, which interestingly, I don't know if you can see I'm on Royal Caribbean right now, they had fried chicken last night as well. But over there, they added a waffle with it and a hot honey sauce to go with it. And I said, you know what? Let me give it a try because I love hot honey sauce and I love waffles. But the waffle was not my favorite. It was extremely dense. I don't know if that's like a European way of making waffles, but it was extremely dense. So upon asking for more of that hot honey, which I really enjoyed, it was much softer, much better, and I was able to eat it. The other thing that I'll say was a little bit disappointing was breakfast in the main dining room. I did go the morning of debark, and the menu there's just really limiting. There's not much on their menu. I had enjoyed the breakfast up at the marketplace, their buffet, a lot, tons of options. And so to go to the main dining room and to feel really limited in what I could get, and the food was all right at that point, actually, I would say the pro tip here is go to breakfast in the marketplace. Go to the buffet for your breakfast food. Now let's talk pools on board MSC Seaside. And I think the pools are one of MSC's strong suits. I like the fact that they break up their pools and they don't have them all in the same spot. It makes them not feel as crowded and overwhelming when you see everybody in one location. So their main pool is going to be on the aft section of the ship that is called Miami Beach, and it is beautiful. One thing that I noticed that I really liked about it, it doesn't have another deck above it looking down. It is on the aft section of the ship, so you can look back onto it from a bar that they've got just above it, but then it's wide open when you're actually at the pool, which makes it feel more inviting, more open, and it was just a really well done layout. They're also going to have on one of the lower levels, also in the aft section, is the Miami Beach. And this is going to be a smaller pool. The downside that I heard from some folks here is the pool's about 6 foot deep. So chances are you're going to be holding onto the side. There is no good way to just like hang out in there without hanging onto the side unless you're swimming the entire time. It does get a little bit crowded, and it is directly beside of the smoking section outdoors, which I'm not a huge fan of. But it also has a gelato stand there, which kind of makes up for it a little bit, but this is another great place you can go to. They're also going to have an indoor-outdoor pool, so if this ship ever goes to a cold weather environment, they've got the solarium style movable, I don't know if it's an awning or cover on their third pool. So if you want a more relaxing and calm environment, you can go hang out in there, though I feel like this is more the kids pool on board the MSC Seaside. They did open it up to give you some of that fresh air while I was there. It was a little bit dark on the inside, but the seats here had cushions on them. So you know that I'm a huge fan of a cushion on my seat, and that's where you're gonna find it on this sailing. You're also gonna find hot tubs all over the ship. So I lost track of how many hot tubs they actually have on the Seaside because they were in some random spots. So if the first one that you get to seems a little bit full or too many people in it, keep walking, you'll come across another one, I promise you. But they were big. When I was there wasn't that many people in most of them, especially if you go later on in the evening. You could have your run a house when it came to the hot tubs. Let's talk about the entertainment on board the MSC Seaside. Now, I got to see one of the several shows that they've got there, and the one that I went to was Peter Punk, which was a variety show, if you will. So it had contortionists, it had balancing acts, it had all sorts of different performers, jugglers that went up on stage, and honestly, that just does not resonate with me. They got 2 different standing ovations. For a show that I didn't like, to get 2 different standing ovations during the show says that I'm probably the one in the wrong here because everybody else loved it. Though, pro tip, make sure you are gonna get your reservation as soon as you walk onto the ship with the app to see the entertainment and the time that's gonna work best for you. Because they do fill up. The theater on board the MSC Seaside is smaller. It is not that big. It's very wide. The stage there is huge. It's very wide, but it doesn't hold that many people, and the first and the second seatings are gonna fill up. And unfortunately, the third ones, I was in bed asleep by the time they happened because it is an Italian cruise line. I feel like things just naturally happen a little bit later here. And another pro tip, if you're going into the theater, don't sit on the front row. That's where I like to sit, so when I'm filming, you know, when I've got my camera going like this, I don't have somebody's head directly in front of me, but they do not have an orchestra on board the MSC Seaside like you'll find on other lines. And so because they're using the speakers, the sound up there was really, really loud, and the bass was a little bit much. I wish that I had a few seats back. Number one, it would have given me a better view probably, and number two, my hearing would have been intact. The entertainment around the ship I also really enjoyed. It is similar to other cruise lines. They're gonna have a saxophonist, they had a guitarist, they have musicians and singers. It's a similar concept, but they do a lot of top 40s music, which I really appreciate. They also have random venues, again, that Italian style cafe shop where you'll have a musician and there's not that many people listening. You don't feel crowded in there, but it's just an easy hangout spot while you have live music. Now, I had a balcony stateroom on MSC Seaside, and I found that I really liked the design of my stateroom. Now, if you haven't watched the video to the stateroom, here's the full tour, but the key highlights are, it was beautiful. It was very bright, very open and airy, which I liked. You're also gonna see a lot of mirrors in your stateroom, and so that's gonna give you even more light coming into the room. The colors, again, not my thing in the stateroom, the maroon, as well as the black. The cabinets though were this ash light color, which again, I think really helped make the cruise room feel much larger. The bathroom on this ship I also appreciated. Plenty of space in the shower because it was an actual rectangle with a solid door to it, and plenty of storage and shelving. Again, could care less for the colors in the room, but from a functionality perspective, it felt larger and felt like it was a good sized bathroom. Let's talk Wi-Fi on board the MSC Seaside. Now, the Wi-Fi here was not blazing fast. I did buy their Premier package or their higher end package for 2 devices for 3 nights. It was about $119, I think. So a little bit on the pricey side, but it did work. It did exactly what I needed to. And even when I went on my phone to play with TikTok or look at Reels, video feeds would still come through and I could stream YouTube without a problem. So the internet here, I'd give 2 thumbs up. It worked absolutely fine, just wish it was a little bit cheaper. One of the bigger problems that I had was the MSC For Me app, which is just really buggy. It did not work that great. Number one, I couldn't make reservations the first day that I got there for the second and third day shows, so I missed those and fell asleep for the later ones, which was not great. You also had to be on airplane mode in order to get the app to work. So if I was at Ocean Key enjoying the island and I was trying to pull a Bahamas cell phone tower as well as pull the Wi-Fi, it wouldn't work when I would go into the app. The app is also not available on every single cruise ship. This was my first time with it because it was not on the Divina, and I will say that it is a basic app. There is nothing over the top about the MSC For Me app, but it gets the job done when it's working, with that one caveat. You can link up your credit card because you can only do that when you're on the ship. You can make reservations for the show, and you can see what restaurants are open and what the activities are going on around the ship. But that's about it. Functionality past those, you're not really gonna have it. So as you can see, the MSC Seaside is not a bad cruise vacation to go on whatsoever. You're gonna find a ton of similarities in MSC and other cruise lines, but you're probably gonna find it for a much cheaper price than what you're getting on other cruise lines. Now, if you wanna fully check out what the layout looks like and say, hey Brandon, like, took you a while to get used to it, to find your way, make sure you're watching this full ship tour video of the MSC Seaside here. And this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. I'm gonna see you on a weekend cruise soon.